Welcome back to Quirks, Quills, and Creativity. I am Kathleen Zoll. I am the host. I am here to interview neurodiverse authors and get to know what people are doing to make things work and make their lives tick. So, tonight I'm bringing in a friend of mine, and let me just admit her to the room. Hopefully, she comes in. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, Danielle, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Going good, going good. So, welcome to Quirks, Quills, and Creativity, which is my little YouTube channel here. How are you doing?
Doing really well.
Good. So, tell the people who are following this about yourself a little bit, please.
Absolutely. So my name's Danielle. I went to school for forensic chemistry and worked in labs for a few years, and now I teach science and math at a private school. I have always had a love of writing and started doing the National Novel Writing Month challenge when I was in high school
Hmm.
and continue doing that through college. And since I've moved and had various different jobs, writing has always been a part of my life. And I love being in community with other writers.
Very cool, very cool. So, how do you find that community? What are you doing to build that?
Absolutely. It began with when I was in high school, the National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo website connected different people in the same area. And my parents, luckily, they were willing to drive me to these different meetups. They're actually with somebody that we knew, kind of mutual acquaintance. So that was really nice. And that got me thinking that this website was a really good way to meet up with people. And that has really driven how I've connected with people. But because of that website, when I moved to the Philadelphia area, I was able to find people in the area that really enjoyed writing. And we all started a Discord server. And so that Discord server, even though NaNoWriMo isn't really a thing anymore, the Discord server is alive and well, and I still have that community. Like-minded people, very positive. We're all able to support each other in our own writing and goals, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
So, what is it that you write? Like, what's because for me, it's all about the medieval fantasy. So, what is it for you?
absolutely. I have definitely always veered towards science fiction fantasy, really settling into magical realism, I think. A little bit contemporary, a little bit, magical portal to another world, that kind of fantasy. I tend towards novels, but I want to explore short fiction a little bit more. When I was in high school, I wrote a lot of some flash fiction, and I
Mhm.
really liked that. So I want to do that a lot more. I've realized different writing forms can help teach you different things about writing. So,
Very cool. Very cool. Now, as you know, this YouTube channel is really devoted to neurodiverse writers.
mm,
I live with ADHD. Um, some say I make them a little screwy because of it, but that's okay. I figured out I embrace my inner weirdo.
mm.
Um, what is your version of neurodiversity, if you don't mind my asking?
Absolutely. Yes, I do not have an official diagnosis, so I want to be very
Okay.
careful to not speak more. But I realized, especially after graduating college, that I really identified with symptoms of ADHD
Mhm.
and some symptoms of autism. And I have neurodivergence in my family. And I also, the private school I teach at is specifically, I tend to get a lot of kids who have neurodiverse traits, autism,
Very
ADHD.
cool.
So it's around me a lot, and I've resonated so deeply with strategies to
Right.
help, like you said, embrace it,
Hmm.
and maybe break down life in a way that's way more helpful for me
Right.
personally. Uh, yeah, yeah. So that's been a journey that's been the last several years.
Makes sense. So, like, what tools are you using? Because, writing, every course tells you there's a way you have to write. And some people are you need to have a full outline, and other people, you have to have index cards that you can rearrange. And I personally am I sit down at the computer and what happens, happens. But I found ways within my ADHD to actually find a structure that works for me. What are you doing that's working for you?
I think the biggest thing that I found is to not let anybody else's structure dictate my structure.
Mhm,
And I'm still exploring different things that work. The biggest thing I found is to not force myself to have to write chronologically. I will jump around in a story if I know different parts of it that I want to have happen, but I don't know how those parts connect together. I will write one part and then jump to another part, and then that will help me bridge both of those pieces together. That's been
mhm,
something more recently I've really been embracing, trying to not make invisible rules for myself. Not saying it has to be at a certain time of day or for a certain amount of time, that it can be two lines,
mhm.
it can be three words, it can be anything. Also, I use a writing software called Dabble.
Okay.
I highly recommend the software. It functions so that you can have, it's a cloud-based software. So I
Mhm.
actually have it on my phone as well
Oh,
as on my computer. And
nice.
so then I can get into my project at any time. It has a lot of lovely different organizational tools. It has kind of almost an index software functionality to it. I don't know
Right,
if you've ever
right.
used Scrivener. It's a little bit like that.
Okay.
Um, but not as in-depth as Scrivener. So
Hmm.
it's a little chiller. I find it works really well for me. And so I can break up all of my stories into chapters and scenes, and then I can move them around really easily, which is really nice when you're
Nice.
writing out of order. Because I'll be like,
Right.
oh, actually, this happens, and then this happens. Oh, but maybe
Yeah.
this happens first. And oh, there's something that happens between those things. It's a lot easier to add that around. And
Hmm.
also I can just use it on my phone. So I try to not say, because yeah, I definitely got used to the idea you write on your computer and that's how it has to be, like you're a writer. Or if I'm brainstorming, it works
Hmm.
really well to use a notebook, things like that.
Yeah.
Trying to do whatever works and to try different things and not be
Right.
afraid to try different things. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, my brother lives in Connecticut. I live just outside Philadelphia. And about a month ago, I was driving back from visiting with him, and I put the notes function on my phone. Now I have Word,
Yes.
and so I've got the Microsoft 365 app on my
Mhm.
phone, but the
Yeah.
voice dictation part of it doesn't work well in my car. So I just opened my notes function and I wrote almost 5,000 words voice to text.
That's
Now,
amazing.
granted, some of it trying to figure out what I'd meant based on what my phone heard was an adventure. But yeah, I think for me, the idea that it has to look a certain way is actually a disservice to most people. Now, one thing I know about you is you are really involved with writing and younger people. It's almost like an extension of your teaching. Talk to people about that. What else do you do?
Yes, so I've been a part of helping getting a teen writers group going at our local library that has been kind of a touch and go thing in the past. I think I worked on an adult writers group, but then I ended up with the teen writers group. I also helped with the teen writers camp a couple years ago, and I'm hoping to do that again this year actually. Um, that has been so much fun because I got into writing when I was a teenager, and I got so many resources and so many different things that helped encourage me as a writer. And so it's really exciting to be able to do that for other young writers, kind of meet them
Mhm.
where they are and unpack how to be creative with them. It's funny
Right.
because I think as an adult, we tend to start thinking in terms of, well, I'm working on this project and I'm
Mhm.
trying to do this thing. For them, it's like, it's a thing I like sometimes. I have a
Right.
bunch of unfinished drafts. I'm not sure what I'll ever do with it. And I don't ever want to be like, oh, you have to be a published author. It's like, no,
Mhm.
this might just be a hobby forever. But if I can help you kind of unpack and explore different things with it,
Mhm.
we're trying out a bunch of different types of writing. I challenged them to write sonnets the other day. And I'm excited to explore all different kinds of writing.
Really cool. Really cool. Now, I had an adventure. I am. with my day job, I had to go to an event at the Chamber of Commerce last night.
Hmm.
It's actually really nice. It was called Makeups and Margaritas. And I may or may not have had a margarita while on the clock. Anyway, so I was chatting with a woman there, and she had to be late 60s, early 70s. And she said, all of a sudden, I got this idea and I feel like I've got a book in me. What do I do? What
That,
advice would you
oh,
give the not teen writer? Because, you know, for those of us who have been writing since we were children, it's like, yeah, I
right.
breathe and I write. That's what we do. What would you say to that person?
Oh, that is my absolute favorite thing. That was something I encountered a lot with NaNoWriMo, because you
Mhm,
get the idea of the National Novel Writing Month is very, I think, very well suited to the idea that anyone can write a novel. It is not something that's confined to those of us who've had the interest for years. It's supposed to be uh, an invitation to anybody that you can
mhm,
come and just write your novel. We're not here to impose a bunch of rules on you. You know, we all took English class. We all were given, stories have to have this structure and essays have
mhm,
to have this structure. But when you're just writing what you want to write, I encounter so many people who are interested in writing their memoirs. I just think
mhm.
that's really, really cool and amazing. And it's helpful for you. It's
Right.
something for your family to be able to have and reflect on family history with. And then also, you totally could get it published, but you don't have
Mhm.
to. Um,
Right.
so I would say embrace that, sit
Mhm.
down, write something. If you can find a local writing community to help encourage you in that, that is helps so much with working towards completing a project.
Right.
If that's something you're interested in doing, giving yourself a challenge of some kind of deadline for
Mhm.
yourself to work towards to help kind of give that project and that idea a
Awesome.
boundary can be really helpful in working towards it. But yeah, go for it. There's no rules. Just write down
Right.
what you think of, and you can't, if you ever want to edit something eventually, you can't edit an empty page. So you need something to
That
work
is
with.
true. That is true. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with the viewers?
I want to say I think it's easy, I think, to fall into the trap of, oh, I don't write enough. I'm not a writer.
Mhm.
Like, I don't write all of the time. I don't have a consistent writing schedule, but I know that I'm still a writer. I still love words and I love stories. And one thing I found that's really creatively refreshing for me is to absorb stories that I love and that inspire me. So even if you're not feeling writing, if you feel like you're in a dry spell or you're not really inspired, find the art that inspires you and then also learn about how stories work.
Mhm.
It's easy to get bogged down with story structure when you're first getting started and you want to learn how to do it right. But I think story structure is the best when you're stuck and you don't know what happens next. There's so many YouTube videos and websites and blogs out there. Just go and read about what everybody thinks, and then you pick what makes the most sense to you. Because actually, storytelling is just what other people think sounds good. So if you get enough of other people saying, "Oh yeah, you wrote something that sounds great," it doesn't matter if you followed XYZ plot structure or XYZ
Right.
anything. So yeah, I'll just embrace it all, explore it all. Don't feel like you're confined to anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time tonight, Danielle. I really do appreciate you being here and chatting with everybody. And I'm going to see if I can figure out how to stop recording. There we go.